Good afternoon. Welcome to today's session, Partner-Driven, Ignite Your Indirect Sales Channel. Thank you all for joining. My name is John Wren, and I'm on the Alliance and Solutions team here at Salesforce. Today I'm joined by Ashut Jazu, Global Industry Leader, Manufacturing and Automotive Industries at Salesforce, Eric Dukart, Chief Strategy Officer at Sundog, and Daniel Gutierrez, Director of Design and Marketing at Tiga Boats. Before we begin, I would like to cover a few quick notes about our webinar platform. Today's webinar will be available on demand after we wrap up and will be accessible through the URL you're on now. Please note the slides will advance automatically throughout the presentation. To enlarge the slides, click the enlarge slide button located in the right-hand corner of your presentation window. Should you need technical assistance, click on the Help widget located on the bottom left corner of your console. Lastly, we encourage you to submit questions at any time throughout the presentation using the Ask a Question widget at the bottom of your console. We will answer as many questions as we can at the end of this presentation. With that, I'll turn the floor over to Ashut.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. This is Ashut Jazu. I run our industry products and solutions at Salesforce for manufacturing. Very quickly, what I wanted to discuss was a couple of things. One, when we talk to our manufacturing customers, what we are seeing is this new move towards designing their business processes and their business around customers, and essentially rethinking about everything around customer and putting the customer in center of everything. So what we're going to hear today is a great example of how Tiga Boats, who's one of our customers, who's really taken that to heart. But not only that, they are also redefining their business model with how they work together with partners to ultimately, and their channel partners to ultimately deliver on that promise of becoming customer-centric. So that's what we are going to hear today. And in addition to that, what we are also doing is working with partners such as Sundog, who are taking our platform and helping manufacturers redefine their business and leverage the Salesforce platform to engage with the partner network for our customers so that they can deliver on the promise of customer-centric strategies. So when we look at manufacturing industry, we all are very familiar with the fact that we have spent a tremendous amount of time implementing what we call systems of record, like the traditional ERP, demand planning, and all of the different systems which we are used to getting the product out the door. But as we move towards this customer-centric model, what we really believe is manufacturers require new platforms, these platforms for intelligent engagement. In these platforms, which are inherently mobile first, have the ability to collaborate, whether within the organization or outside with their channel partner or even the customer networks, so that they can drive better engagement and better customer experiences. And we believe that that single platform for intelligent engagement is Salesforce. Many of you have known of Salesforce as a CRM product, but what you're going to hear today is with the capabilities of other clouds that we bring in this one platform, whether it is coming from Marketing Cloud or Community Cloud and other capabilities, manufacturers can really redefine how they go to market and how they leverage this platform to become customer-centric. And then finally, what we are also seeing is as we go to market for manufacturers, we have developed very specific solutions on this particular platform, the Salesforce Customer Success Platform, to essentially help you consume the platform for every aspect of your organization, every functional aspect of your organization. So whether we are connecting your sales organization or your partner organization, your service organization, or also even your internal operations, how do you leverage the platform? We at Salesforce have been thinking very hard about it and working with partners such as Sundog, who have taken this to essentially develop very specific connected partner solutions. So with that, what I'm going to do is hand over to Eric Dukart, who's going to talk about a fantastic innovative solution, partner-driven, which has been developed on the Salesforce platform. And he's going to walk us through what they've done and what the type of capabilities that they bring to the marketplace. Eric, over to you.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Ashut. I just want to do a quick kind of introduction on our organization, on Sundog. We're a consulting firm that has been focused in this manufacturing industry for the past 20 years. So what I'm going to start with is sharing some of the trends that we're seeing in the industry, things that we're doing with our clients, and I'm very excited to have Daniel from Tiger Boats share his story to kind of really bring it home for everybody. And finally, as Ashut described, we are a Salesforce partner, and what we've done is created a solution that's focused on solving some of those key challenges that manufacturers are facing, especially when you're selling through an indirect sales channel and you have a highly considered purchase. So when you have an indirect sales channel like partners or dealers or a reseller model, marketing and sales and support are all becoming much more complex, and it's becoming much more challenging, as I'm sure all of you on the phone can attest to. So there's three trends that we're seeing within B2B manufacturing. The first, and probably the most pervasive one, is this renewed focus on enabling their partner channel to really streamline sales, help their dealers and their distributors be able to sell more product. And they're doing things like upgrading their legacy portals into a much more collaborative community with their partners. And they're working to get information into their partners' hands on any device. Customers are driving our partners to do more, be more responsive, more quick, and so we really have to work to support bringing that information to them, in real time on any device. The second trend that we're seeing is a shift to digital marketing. Manufacturing industry as a whole has typically lagged behind. Not Taiga, if you wait till you hear Daniel's story here, but as a whole, the industry has been a lagger. And what we're seeing is B2B marketers are focusing on a couple things. The first is re-engagement campaigns that are targeted at existing customers. With these highly considered purchases, the sales cycle is shorter when they can focus on those existing customers. And the second that we're seeing and supporting our clients on is social, specifically helping them with social listening, understanding how are their customers speaking about their brand, industry keywords, even competitive analysis. And we're using those insights to be able to market to the end consumer through social ads. And then the final shift is marketing automation. With budgets shrinking, all of our clients need to do more with less. And marketing automation really helps the marketing and sales team automate some of those tactical initiatives. But one of the interesting things that we're seeing, even though this industry is lagging, is that there's been a significant focus on innovating around machine data and using product information coming from the product to engage their customers more effectively. So if those are some of the trends, what problems are driving the need to have better collaboration with partners? As you all know, it's really difficult to be able to get all your customer data into one system. And if you can imagine how complicated it becomes when we talk about wanting to bring that customer data together across an entire indirect sales channel or partner ecosystem. To compound things, oftentimes with partners, that information resides in all types of different systems, even everything from spreadsheets to access databases to even paper copies that are floating around out there. And another big challenge we see is that partners have more demands on them. Consumers are demanding more from the partners, and in return, partners are asking and looking for their manufacturer to give them more support. And finally, dealers, they're great salespeople, but typically they're not great marketers. And I hope Daniel can share some examples of how his team is supporting their dealer network. So to help the manufacturer, we created partnerDRIVEN, and it's a partner relationship management solution. And there's really three key areas that we focused on with this solution: collaboration, accessibility, and a more personalized experience. What we're hearing from our clients is that they need the ability to be able to more quickly collaborate in real time with their partners and across their organization. Accessibility, getting the information into their partner's hands on any device, the tools and the dashboard they need to be able to run their business. And then finally, really taking the experience and wrapping it around the role that an individual plays and giving them the information that they need at their fingertips. So with that, there's a couple things that partner-driven really delivers on. And the first is when you tightly integrate your CRM, your corporate CRM system with a PRM solution, your productivity goes up. If you think about it, with this integrated platform, there's really one customer record that is used across your entire partner ecosystem, and corporate sales and marketing all are looking at that same customer information. Because the solution is built on Salesforce, right away it gives us that ability to be able to collaborate, and the customer experience we can personalize for those partners based on their role. They're able to kind of freely collaborate with teams that normally they had a difficult time doing, engineering and product managers and channel managers, all back at corporate. And finally, manufacturers are able to streamline and effectively route leads based on their territories. So I want to just show you what we've created here from a high level. We've built 5 industry accelerators that sit on top of the Salesforce platform. The first one is program management. We help manufacturers streamline their partner onboarding and manage their entire partner program. It contains everything from contract management to partner tiering. Within the partner scorecard, that sits on top of the Community Cloud, and it contains everything they need to be able to collaborate with partners on key performance indicators. So everyone's operating off of the same plan. The third accelerator is partner marketing. It provides partners with a streamlined and more personalized marketing campaign that they can deliver to their end customers and prospects. To support those personalized campaigns, we also have market development funds. This is really a core PRM process that allows corporate marketers to be able to grant partners specific funds to launch those localized campaigns. So it's the revenue or the money that supports being able to run those campaigns in their market. And then the last accelerator is partner lead management. This automates the lead capture process that manufacturers typically do for their dealers, and it builds in scoring and routing of those leads across their entire partner network based on really any territory assignment that they might have. So with that, I'd like to introduce Daniel. Daniel is, if you describe as the Director of Product Development and Marketing at Taiga Boats. What Daniel's done is really taken Taiga through a marketing and sales transformation. And I'm really excited for him to be able to share his story with all of you. So Daniel, with that, take it away.
All right, thanks, Eric. What he said there was the transformation, and really to just give you a level overview of how I approach it and how our team approaches it at Taiga Boats. It's important to understand that the word is transformation and that what goes into it. So the story that we're about to tell and the story I'm going to tell for Taiga here is one that it didn't start glamorous, and our goal is to do always a really realistic approach to how we got into it and what we did. So about Taiga Boats, we're a privately owned wake boat inboard manufacturer in Texas, and all of our products are made 100% under the same roof within our factory. We were founded in 1991, and we are celebrating 25 years, just over 25 years of boat building. So we're young enough to be nimble. We're old enough to know what we're doing and making an amazing product while we're at it. So we have a very affluent customer. Our average, overall, our average customer is around $250,000 to $350,000 a year income. They are on average 46 to 50 years old, have a couple of kids, and have a whole bunch of things that they have to take into account when considering purchasing a luxury item or something like a boat that is a discretionary income item. We have a unique circumstance as a manufacturer because not only do we have to speak to our customer base that's out on the retail level every day, we also have to speak to our dealer network, which is about 90 dealers that are in a unique situation because within the boating industry, there's a lot of dealerships that aren't franchised. They're privately owned dealerships, so families and business people own these dealerships. And in order to get a consistent message, we had to really apply ourselves figuring out how to speak to both of these channels on a very regular level, but really identify who we are, through speaking several different languages. So as I continue to evolve here throughout these slides, you're going to hear, really how we approach it. So the big part is what are the tools that we use? Sales Cloud, Marketing Cloud, and Community Cloud is the basic overview of how we begin to break down how we approached doing this. And every single one of them has a different role, because the Sales Cloud will take care of the CRM side of things, maintain our data, and keep it all housed in one place. The Marketing Cloud is how we communicate, and then the Community Cloud brings in tying together a little bit of the other two, but really it's where we communicate with our dealer network at the same time and allow them to tap into the Sales Cloud capability, and also track what our Marketing Cloud is up to and putting out there. So transformation is the word. We'll consider that the theme today. But to see where we were at and make everybody feel comfortable with where they are today, 2014 was an amazing year for us. When I look at the leads that we generated through marketing channels, the total for the entire year was 63. That's humbling and humiliating all at the same time. But in 2015, it was about August of 2015, we just really took a step back and evaluated what we were doing and how we were doing it, evaluated our brand. We've always had a very strong brand presence. We've always had a luxury brand presence and a quality brand presence. But, your brand is only as good as the people who see it and the people really who are engaging in it. So in August of 2015, we really reevaluated and started to put all of our energy throughout the marketing department and sales department back into lead generation and trying to see how we could figure this out. In that time, we're relatively new to the Salesforce program, but at the end of 2015, we signed on with Salesforce. They launched us into a launch partnership with Sundog, and we got going, but we first had to really figure ourselves out. So in 2016, we're on pace now to do 11,000 leads this year, obviously using the Salesforce platform. And what I'm about to show you is even more so digging into who we are in order to do it well and communicate properly. So every customer starts their journey in somewhat traditional channels. Obviously, they're online channels, but getting your brand established and being out in the public is very important. And for that, we stayed very true to our brand from the image and from the presence of it. But the average attention span of a consumer is 8 seconds. And so we had to really calibrate how we were going to begin to connect and have an impression of our brand that was big enough to get them to engage within that short of amount of time. So with that, our message has always had to be on point. It's had to be on time, and we've had to really figure out and recalibrate where they see it, how they see it, and what they will see. Pixels are your best friend. That's the beginning of a wonderful retargeting relationship. Although it's one-sided right now when you get into pixels and the retargeting of all of it, it's your opportunity to really begin to give them the opportunity to engage. So our most effective avenues have always been Google ads, maintaining quality in search rankings, Facebook ads, targeted banner ads, and then our traditional industry ads, which is basically saying we have to stay present throughout your wakeboarding magazines, water ski magazines, boating magazines, all of these channels out there that are traditional, but they're still important to have a brand presence within the niche that you're in. And then from there, the retargeting, as I mentioned, is very important, but the step is to get the identify, is really, it says identify the customer, but it is to get the customer to identify themselves. So we begin talking to the right person and put ourselves in the right channels, as I mentioned on the previous slide, and then that's the opportunity that we get for them. We always try to set them up for every opportunity to begin to identify who they are. And when that happens, that's the opportunity to continue the dialogue and begin to build a one-on-one relationship. So through Facebook lead generation ads, through Taiga Studio, through Taiga Studio is our online boat builder where you can custom design your boats, through our demo request channels, there's multiples of those. Social media conversations that we're always involved in and engaged in and tracking, and then email subscriptions, and then through the one that's very important is actually the experience and the events that are live. These are all opportunities where we take every chance we get to get their information and begin to start nurturing that relationship. And then that's when the Marketing Cloud kicks in. Lead details are critical. They're critical for retargeting. They're critical for the email studio and our content builder, social studio, our mobile connect initiatives. The Marketing Cloud really does its best work when you're gathering the most amount of information from all of those channels that you saw on the previous slides. So it's very important to ask the questions. There was a big debate within our company, probably within even part of my perspective, that was the pride of the brand, the pride of the the luxury, non-invasive, please, see our beautiful products and receive them well. There was a mentality of that, and then, as we began to refocus, we had to ask ourselves if we were actually being invasive enough, and so we were trying to be very cautious. But I will tell you that putting the questions out there, you'd be amazed the number of people that answer them. It's been eye-opening and incredible to see too that of a 46-year-old male that makes $300,000 a year actually will fill out a 6-question form on Facebook and give us every single bit of information. And all of those demographics, in my mind, always seemed like they were something that wouldn't truly work out, but it's incredible to see what does. And when you ask people for information and you connected with them in the right time in the right place, it's amazing to see how many people really will engage, and that's due to how calculated we were and when they saw our message, again, then gave them the right opportunity to engage with us and give us their information. So once we get their information, then the journey begins. We've presented ourselves in multiple avenues. We've probably showed up at this point in time before a journey starts. We've probably shown up on their Facebook page. They probably somehow landed on Taiga.com, and somewhere along the way, there's a pretty good chance that they filled out some information and told us who they were. That was all strategic at the very beginning, and from there, they're going to identify themselves, and like I said, the journey begins. A journey is the right message at the right time for the right person. If that comes down to an email, to our emails and how we communicate with them, it's also breaking down the steps and the cycle in which they truly engage with us, and then we engage back with them. So once they identify themselves, we typically like to welcome them throughout the email journey, then begin to present lifestyle, social elements, details about the product that are really non-invasive. They're not core. They're just begin to paint a picture and keep it soft for just a minute while they really engage. But then we found that bringing in third-party product validation and then beginning to call them to action and then truly asking them to come ride in the boat is something that's been very effective for us. So the customer experience is an emotional experience, and you really have to learn what their trigger points are. I had mentioned to you earlier that we have to maintain a channel of speaking to our dealer network, but also very importantly speaking to our customer and painting the picture and the lifestyle of our company. So a very important aspect of this was really drilling down who we are, what we have to say, and who's ultimately going to receive this information. So we broke it down into 3 categories to begin. This was a lot of soul searching within our company and within our teams to begin to establish the right message. And then it was working in partnership with Sundog as a launch partner to help us narrow down how we begin to communicate these things. We were coming at this obviously from a year prior doing a whopping 64 leads for the year. So we were green, to say the least, when we were really evaluating how we wanted to speak. We broke it down into the direct competitor boat owner. That's our direct competition. Then we have a non-direct competitor, which is not your inboard wakeboard, wake surf boat industry. It's not a versatility industry. It's more of your cruisers and the people who are interested in boating or have boats but haven't ever really identified that we're a target that they might be interested in. And then we have a first-time boat buyer. And then all three of these categories, they require a different message at all times. So this is where the journey becomes very important, because the journey, building your journeys is an opportunity to change your language, to change the way you speak and the way that people identify you. So in a direct competitor scenario, we might be getting very active in a direct competitor situation, more about action, more about the high-level competitive nature of our company. The non-direct competitor is going to be more about how they had no idea what we're capable of, or have never really had the opportunity to be educated in what we're capable of. So we speak that language and we comfort them on the things that they're used to and they love about boating, but also the benefits that we offer. And then you have a first-time boat buyer who is a completely different competitive analysis for us. We compete with them, or we compete in the areas that they're trying to figure out if they should go on a vacation to Hawaii. They're calculating whether or not they want to remodel the bathroom or the kitchen, and they have to they're debating whether or not it's important to buy this boat or if they want to send their kid to college. So we have to be comforting the entire time to them, because what we're competing against is far different than any other boat on the water. Our dialogue has to change every time that we speak to them based on the things that they're concerned about in the different channels that they come from. So data is your friend as we narrow down these different categories, and we've had them identify who they are. The details that come within their lead profile is critical to the success of your ability to communicate throughout these journeys. The dynamic content that we use is all going to change depending. So your purchase time frame is a big one for us. Boat model of interest is a big one to ask them about. Their current boat type, their current boat brand, other boats that they were considering, the lead source, basically where they found us, and then their stage in the buying cycle. These are very important to us, but they're going to change with every one of you in every scenario of the business that you're in. But these are the kind of fields that you really have to evaluate, because when they come in and you get this information, these are the things you're going to use to communicate with them on a regular basis and begin to identify how to narrow down your direct message to speak to them about what they care about. And again, we were very comforted by the fact that people are willing to give this information. It was stunning to me to think that was the case. So what you see here is a journey, and you consider it a big mess, and everything about this is daunting, and there's too many dots in too many places and too many split decisions being made. But the truth of it is that with planning and with really digging into who you are and what you're trying to do, it all bundles up and looks very much like this. That's the simplicity of the chaos that's going on behind the scenes, and that comes with taking the time to figure out your lead details, figure out the channels that you want them to communicate with, figure out the information that your team can best work with to communicate further. And then once they identify themselves, you get to welcome them, you get to take them through the lifestyle, you get to take them through your company, and you can build your timing to communicate with them exactly as they need to be communicated with. So that's just a quick overview to give you a good insight on how we approach it. As a company, we had to humble ourselves to really figure out how we needed to do this. And as much as the process seemed daunting at the very beginning, with a lot of engagement and being passionate about the end result, we've seen a lot of success so far, and we're excited about where we're headed. So as we continue to evolve, we'll still push all of the social attributes and push all the social communication that we possibly can. We'll build a lot of custom emails throughout the way. We're engaging in Mobile Connect and beginning to allow people on a mobile platform to get back in touch with us and start receiving information. We're excited to really launch that on a high level over this coming boat show season. That will begin here very soon, and we're just always open-minded to be evolving in the right direction. So with that sums up the Taiga story, and that leads us to the next phase of it, which is really the questions.
Daniel, Thank you very much. That was great. It's great to see the growth in leads that you guys experienced as a result of the processes you guys worked on and set up. So with that, I also want to thank Ashut and Eric, and also just remind everybody on the phone that if you have a question, please submit it into the Q&A box, and we'll get it answered. With that, I have the first question for you, Daniel, which is, when you first deployed, it sounds like you used Sundog as your implementation partner. How did you transition to managing the program on your own, and how many people do you have on your team to manage this?
The entire team is going to basically be our sales department and our marketing department. The marketing department, there's 4 of us, so we are small but mighty, I promise you. And then the sales department is another 5. So it's not a huge team. We do have a champion in each category. We have a champion on the marketing side of it, a champion on the sales side of it. They kind of oversee the overall, they really get the job done every day. It's Courtney and Jean. And then myself, I really overview the entire system, the strategy, and try to make sure that everything works. Ask me one more time, what was the rest of the question?
No, that was it. You answered both parts of it.
Okay.
Second question comes in, and it says, as we mentioned, it looks like you have a ton more leads, a significant multiplier there. How do you get those leads into the hands of your dealers? And is that process automated for you guys?
Yeah, the process is automated. The key there is the partner community. And the key for us is to make sure that we're using very clean data and evaluating it. There's a part of this process that's still very hands-on for us because we wanted to be in touch with who our customer is. So we, as much as there's some things that we're in the process of automating now, a year into it, we're looking at some things that we want to automate and better reporting and things like that. But for a while, it was very hands-on in order to make sure that the leads that we were giving to our dealer network were good ones. Because when you switch an entire company, an entire culture, and an entire infrastructure of how we do business, it's also one of the variables that's in the mix is building trust. So when we have a dealer network receiving leads from us, it was very important for us to show them that the leads that we were getting were quality leads and qualified leads. So we do that by first evaluating ourselves, evaluating the information and the data that we are getting, and then once we populate our sales cloud, everything then based on certain criteria, zip codes, locations, and putting them into the proper channels, then they will automatically assign into the partner community by being by the partner community communicating and pulling its data directly from the sales cloud.
The next question comes in. Can you give us an example of third-party product validation in your buyer journey?
Yeah, usually there's a couple things. One of them is owners, but people. It's quick to say that someone could sway that opinion. So we've also had professional athlete validation, which seems like it could possibly be swayed too. If an athlete rides for us, then they might possibly push something. But third-party product validation is going to come from testing. It's going to come from owners that are very happy. It's going to come from potentially, depending, but a new dealership and the reason that they signed on our product line. It'll come from magazines. It will come from boat test sites, things like that. So when we send out the third-party validation, it's saying that, hey, we think we're awesome, so you're going to obviously hear that from us, but there's other people saying it too, and giving them the avenues in that email to go and learn a little bit more. So it just goes to say that we're not the only ones saying we're great, check this stuff out. And when you do that within an email, obviously everything moves quickly, and giving them the opportunity, as much as we want to keep them contained within a Taiga space, if you need to send them on to another place every once in a while, then at least we're confident enough to do so, and we've set them up for it by the emails prior to that, and then we're ready for them for the emails after that. So the journey is just as much about the customer as it is about us strategically placing it and timing it to speak to them the way they need to be spoken to.
Fabulous. Our next question comes in for Sundog. So Eric, I'm going to pass this one to you. Does the partner-driven solution require additional license cost, or can we use it on our existing instance of Salesforce?
So that's a good question. The way that our partner-driven solution, it's called a full force solution. So what we did is build it on top of kind of the core capabilities of Sales Cloud, Marketing Cloud, and Community Cloud. So it doesn't require additional licenses. It can work within the existing instance you have. We've just created what we call accelerators, but it's basically code and workflows and triggers that would connect in with the core objects of Salesforce, like leads and opportunities and the contact record. So short answer is that it works with your existing licenses that you already have.
Great. And a follow-up to that question is, how large of a dealer network can the solution handle?
Really, it can scale out. We have one client that has, I think, 2,600 dealers that it's supporting, but it scales out because it's built on the Salesforce platform. There really isn't a limitation in terms of the scalability of it. Again, our goal with the solution is to help our clients be able to get 60 to 70% of their business process defined in those five areas, and then we support them in kind of customizing it that last 30% to make sure that it meets their business needs.
And then, is there a specific ROI that you guys aim for, or is that handled more on a customer-by-customer basis?
Is that for Daniel?
Is that a question for me?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll throw that up to you, Daniel, and then Eric, if you want to comment at all.
Yeah. Right now, I wouldn't say there's ROIs and there's KPIs, and for us, it's really about selling boats. So when we had to address the entire core nature of how we did business. So the ROI begins to prove itself by closed won. The performance of it begins to prove itself by having closed won. So really being able to track where these sources are very important to us right now. The lead source, where we found them, the amount of information that customers are willing to give us, those are all considered a return on our investment, because we're having the opportunity to speak to them again. And in formulas that we've used in the past, or obviously no marketing initiative in that regard, lead generation before, it's really easy to say we have a return, because when someone gives us their information, we have a customer that we get to communicate further. And a year in now, we're watching them begin to really go through the entire buying cycle. We track every step of the way. So performance-wise, it's all about selling boats. And now that we see that this system is, in fact, selling boats, that's wonderful. And really, for us, it's a huge return, because I got 11,000 names and numbers that I get to communicate with daily to grow our brand and our brand awareness that I didn't have even just a year ago. And I will say, I'm sure that's good. I was just going to say, I'm sure that will change as we evolve a little bit more, but if we allow ourselves to take some baby steps, just seeing progress and seeing the take rate of our dealer network is a return enough, because at least we're taking advantage of the opportunity to communicate with our customers.
From the partner-driven solution standpoint, we do actually have a kind of an ROI model that we use, and really what that's built off of, I think, is what kind of Daniel described, is leads and when we can revenue. So we can build the ROI off of like an lead opportunity close ratio, and if available, when we actually get the revenue number, we can show the ROI. The challenge with companies that have indirect sales channels, especially an organization like Daniel's, where they're independent dealerships, getting the actual sales revenue sometimes can be difficult. So we've done ROI models in both ways to kind of prove out the value of the solution.
Awesome. And then Eric, I'll actually follow up by asking, and maybe this is a question for both of you, but if my company was to start this, where would you recommend we start?
Daniel, do you want to take that first, or you want me to?
Yeah, I'll take that. My recommendation on where to start is start with yourselves, and hopefully things like this webinar will help guide that. But if you were to start with yourselves and evaluating what your needs are. I use the term humbling ourselves, but really getting down to the core of who we were. That's where we began. Then we began to shop our solutions. We were very impressed and had really no hesitation in the shopping process that the overall capability of the Salesforce platform and the offerings underneath the umbrella that is Salesforce was the direction we wanted to go, because we have a team of employees that were very excited and active and willing to get hands-on in every aspect of it. So we're a hands-on team. We do a lot of stuff still in-house and challenge ourselves to learn quite a bit and continue to progress and figure it out. So having a team like that was a big part of it. From there, the partnership was made with Sundog from Salesforce. So once we got more into the Salesforce relationship, then they began to guide us in the direction according to the size and the scale of our company, the fact that we were a manufacturing company, the fact that we were the way we were aspiring to use this system once we started digging into who we were, all of those things, and then all the dots kind of start to connect from there. So I think it does change depending on what you do and how you do, how you plan to use it. And Salesforce was very helpful in that. And then they partnered us up with Sundog, who has extensive experience in the manufacturing side of these platforms, so which leads us to today. So I think that sums up my perspective there.
I think the thing we see with our clients when they're kind of starting, and I think, Daniel, you guys, Tyga was in the same spot, there's kind of two areas that organizations get started here. One is when they evaluate and look at their indirect sales channel. Again, a dealer network, a retailer network, is how much information and how organized is the information that they have on their dealer network. And that's really what we put under the category of program management. So one place to get started is to just get all of your dealer information organized into a system. And then the other area that we see organizations get started with is lead management. So they have a desire to get more qualified leads into their dealers' hands. I would say Tyga, took both of those on at the exact same time, which is why they deployed, and we supported them in deploying the Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, and Marketing Cloud. And I would just reiterate the point that Daniel made, that we have different clients. Some clients want us to do all of it for them, but in Daniel's case, it was very clear that his team desired and wanted to own it and take it over, and they've done a great job. We helped them set it up, but Daniel and his team have done a fantastic job in taking all this new technology in a new way of doing marketing and really have ran with it, and it's been fun to watch.
Great. That ends our presentation today. It seems like we've answered all the questions that have come into the flow. I want to thank our three speakers again, and thank you all for attending. Please note that a link will be sent out of this webinar for anybody that would like to rewatch or catch up on anything that was missed or covered. So with that, thank you.